called Two Antique Bells, and it's written probably a little more of the style of the corner cupboard, or even yellow boots, and I have condensed it down a little bit. Paul is going to help. He has some pictures to illustrate some of these things. The first one is titled Two Antique Bells. At our house, we have two antique bells. Each is well over 100 years old. One is large, one is small. The big bell was in the antique store in downtown Rose City. Now, I thought I would retire in a university town, but I retired in Rose City. Population, 600. We looked at this bell a number of times, but decided the price was too much for our budget in 1972. And besides, there was no history to go with it. We would stop, and each time we went to Rose City for the weekend and ask if anyone had heard anything about this bell. We knew from the markings, it indicated that it had been cast in Hillsboro, Ohio, in the year 1886. Finally, one time when we visited the shop, the owner said one of the local old-timers had been in and told him the bell was from one of the local schools, one of the local one-room schools of Ogama County. That was enough information to make us dig deeper into our pockets and come up with the $125 price on it. We will never know which school claimed the bell, but we do know that earning a school bell created wonderful memories for us. You see, many of our family members have connection with schools. I was a teacher and administrator for years. My grandmother, my mother, my dad, my sons, my nieces, my sister, my brother, my daughter-in-law, my cousins, my aunts. The list could go on listing teachers in the family. And then we had others that worked in the schools as bus drivers, coordinated transportation programs, coordinated computer program at Western, taught at West Point, served as classroom aides, lots of school connections. I once made a schoolhouse quilt and assigned each family member a schoolhouse. And I put their name over the door. With only 24 doors, I ran out of places to put names in my family and had to put some on the back. You see, education is of great importance to our family. A wonderful friend and retired teacher by the name of Lenora Markell would drive me around Ogama County each fall for a color and information tour. Lenora had lived in Ogama County for years and years, and I was new there. Lenora would point out one-room schools in the area, and she would point out locations where one-room schools had once been and were no more. What a wealth of information she imparted, and I absorbed with glee. She would say, "Your bell may have been here," as she pointed to a school, and I would envision children on the playground being called by the beautiful bell. The bell would summon that school was ready to begin, and recess was over. Can you picture that? I need to interject here that about my first meeting with Lenora Markell. It was at a MARS meeting, a meeting for retired school personnel, and I was introduced as Dr. Judy Berg. After the meeting, Lenora came up to me and asked, "How can you be Dr. Judy Berg?" Well, I smiled and said, "Why do you ask that?" And she said, "Because my daughter is Dr. Judy Berg, and she lives in New York City." Since that meeting, Lenora has passed away. But I have met her wonderful daughter and son-in-law and delightful grandchildren, Adam and Jessica. They are now psychologists, psychiatrists, authors, college professors, and documentary producers. And they, like my mother, like their mother and grandmother, really enhanced my life. Now, Adam and Jessica's father was Judy's first husband, and his name name was Ernest Green. Ernest was one of the first students involved in segregated school entry in Arkansas. A movie has been written called The Ernest Green Story, and I see some of you nodding. And it is used for educational purposes in many schools. You may want to see it. Now let's go back to the story of the school bell. We put this bell on a post by our trailer home in Rose City. We were so fearful that someone might steal it, because we'd already had 3 break-ins, that every Sunday night we would load it in our car, take it back to Rose City, and on Friday when we came back to take it back to Essexville, and on Friday nights when we came back to Rose City, we would load it in the car, put it on the post, use it for the weekend, and then do this for years. But now that we are permanent residents in Rose City, it is chained to a post behind our lovely home. When we have young folks here, it is always a struggle to determine which of them will have the privilege of ringing the bell. We have wait lists on Cousins Weekend. The young folks all want to take their turn. I have taken many pictures. We need the one of the squirrel. I have taken many pictures against the robin blue sky background. Many children have asked that I take their picture ringing the bell. And of course, one of the squirrel. And of course,
oh.
That's cute. Cute.
This is one of my favorite photos and I take many photos through my window and during my cancer treatment period, because I have been snapping these to put in a book that I hope to title 360 Degrees of View from My Window. Now, I often wonder what this squirrel is thinking. Is he thinking of students being recess? Now we're going to move on to this little bell. I love this little bell. One day I went to the mailbox and there was a notice to pick up the package at the post office. We drove into town and noted that the package was from California, sent by my Uncle Jack, Colonel Frederick J. Hicks, husband of my Aunt Mary. There was a note in the package and it said, "Your aunt is gone now, and I have been hanging on to this bell long enough. I am sure she would want you to have it." And it went on to say that Aunt Mary had told him that the bell was in my grandmother Mudge's family, and they used it to call folks for meals on the farm. And when my grandmother had her one-room school, her classroom, she would use it to summon her students. I was retired at the time I received this bell in 1991, but I was an active member of the MARSC organization, and I was on the state board. I served as chair of the foundation for the MARSC organization and did many other things. So when I called meetings together, do you know what I did? I rang this bell and told its story. And as president of the Kirtland Community College Foundation and working on committees for my church, do you know what I called the meetings together with? And do you think they heard the story of the bell? I love to hold on to the handle of this wooden handle of this bronze bell. I love sitting and just running my hands over it and conjuring up stories of the folks who have used it so often. I have it in my home now, sitting on a dresser that belonged to my mother and my aunts. You see, I enjoy the past, I enjoy the present, and I certainly look forward to the future. Who will get these bells, the school bell and the hand bell? Who will carry on the school tradition? Will it be Mike and Janice and Alex getting the large bell with the farm? Will it be Stephen getting the small bell to ring and call his classes to order? And I could say instead of tossing candy at them. Will it go to my nieces? who I'm sure would love it, or my sister, who I'm sure would covet it. One thing I am certain is that these bells will remain in the family. It would be fun to surprise someone with a package in the mail with the story of the bells, wouldn't it? Oh, the wonderful memories and stories created by two antique bells. I absolutely love having both of them. They mean so much to me. And just remember, everything has a story to tell.